Namaskar. We are hearing the talks on Neo Hinduism, or in Malayalam, I should say, Nava Hinduism. It's not a new religion and all that, but it's a new way of approaching Hinduism. That is, approaching the religion with a logical mind. In Sanskrit, they say yukti yukta, which means an approach should have a logical base. Faith has no logical base, you just believe in it. That's better for you to believe the things that the priests say, or the pandits say, or the rishis say, or the great divine books say. Just believe it, that's enough. It is just like treating a small child when he's in Anganawadi, or when he's in the primary school or kindergarten, whatever that is. When the teacher sings a song or teaches a nursery rhyme, the children take it for granted that that happens or that happened. They never question it. When they say, "Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are," whether you can talk to the star or whether a star can reply to you, that doesn't matter. You just believe it. And when the teacher says some old stories of Panchatantra or Aesop stories, for example, there was a competition between the rabbit and tortoise. You believe it. Yes, once they ran and rabbit failed and the tortoise won, right? They believe it. We all believed it. Such things or such way of teaching is good in the beginning stages. But later, a human being should turn to another track of questioning things. Why? Why is it so? Did it really happen? When? What? Which? Who? All these questions become relevant when you grow up. It's not necessary in the basic classes. Similarly, when you approach the religion or when you approach spirituality with a very serious mind, then these questions has to come. All the great books in India are questions and answers. Vedas. The teachers teach and the students ask questions. In Ramayana, we find Sri Rama asking so many questions to Vishwamitra and Vasishta. There's a great work called Yoga Vasishtam, isn't it? And there's a dialogue between Sri Rama and Vasishta, his guru. Bhagavad Gita, it's a dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna. The students have the right to ask questions, and it is the duty of the teacher to reply. Convince the students with a logical mind. Krishna would have told Arjuna, "Arjuna, these things are beyond your capacity. You are just a Kshatriya. You are not a knowledgeable person. You are not a person who has done all these spiritual practices. I am an avatara, and I have myself showed to you that I am a great avatara. I fill the whole world." Krishna revealed his identity to Arjuna in the Kurukshetra. So, you know that I am the God and you obey me. If you don't obey me, I will send you to the hell. That's an approach suitable for people who can't think, or people who don't want to think, people who don't want to ask questions. See, if a teacher can't answer a student, a question of a student, then he can very well say, "You get out of the class," if the question is disturbing, and the student naturally will go out. But the question will not go out. The question will stand there in the class till a sensible, knowledgeable teacher comes and answers this. See, you have to convince people. And conviction always needs the logical mind for intelligent people. So, Hinduism, as it is a religion of the thinking people, not believing people. Why do you ask questions? Because we want to know. You just want to have a good life and you just want to go to heaven after this life. Okay, that's the nursery school idea and you can have it. You can live with it. But what are the people who can think? What about a person like Albert Einstein or Newton or C.V. Raman? The people who can think. It is from these great thinking minds that the whole development of the world comes. Otherwise, we would have been just like aborigines who live in the forest. So all these great things come from the people who think. Socrates asked so many questions and Plato asked so many questions of Socrates. That's the basis of science and logical thinking. Many people believe that this logic is not in religion. As far as Hinduism is concerned, logic is its base. For example, you are following a lot of rituals in Hinduism, I know. There are a lot of rituals. Do these rituals have a logical sense? Maybe it happened as people say, it happened accidentally, a ritual happened accidentally, then people start following it. The Puranas tell us about a story of a guru who went to Ganga. He went to Ganges with his disciples. He wanted some Ganga water. He wanted to give it to his mother, old mother. So he had brought a small bottle along with him. And before taking a dip in the Ganges, he put it on the sand. But then he thought, suppose somebody takes it away, what will I do? So he made a small sand. With sand, he made some arrangement and the bottle was placed safely inside. So he covered it with sand. And later, when he came back to take it, he was astonished to see so many things like that. Small hills formed on the sand. And then he asked his disciples, what happened? Why did you make all these things? Then they said, sir, we thought that it's a ritual, that before going into Ganga or dipping into Ganga, you had to do this ritual. See, this is a basic fault of any religion. You have to understand in depth what a ritual means. Let's take a very simple ritual. The Hindus put a sandal paste on their head, or sometimes they have a kumkum like this, and sometimes they wear vibhuti or ash on the head. What does it mean? I'm sure that you also have that experience when you went to the temple for the first time with your grandmother, or father or mother, and they putting this sand paste on your head, and you ask the question, sir, oh, mother, why do I do it? Why should I do it? Then the mother would say, okay, when you grow up, you will know what it is. The mothers are all grown-up people, but they don't know why they do it. This is a ritual. And people say, rituals are to be followed. They should not be changed. But Shankaracharya, the great Hindu saint, makes it clear that it is a sin to follow a ritual without understanding it. He calls it anachara. Anachara which is not necessary. But if it has a logical base, of course, that is to be followed. Why do we put this sandal paste? Have you ever thought about that? Sandalwood is connected with the Hindu's life because the body is cremated in a fire, and it is prescribed that we should use sandalwood for that. I know it's not possible, but that's a concept. Well, this sandal is put on your head. In the temples, they bring these sandalwood pieces and crush it and grind it and make it in a paste, and we put it like left to right. We have a small line. We call it chandanam or a sandal paste. It means this. I have to give my body finally to the fire and pyre. So that to the sandalwood belongs this body. And when you put a sandal paste like that, we have to recite a mantra. Idam na mama. Idam, this is not mine. What is not mine? This body is not mine. We have to give it to the time. That's where we call it kalebara. Then what about the kumkumam? It represents the fire. We have to keep this body to the fire. And ash, at last, we have some drops of ash, isn't it? We had to put the dust like thing, and we put it on the head and throughout the body. Well, why do we say that? After going to the temple, you come out and pray and put the sandal and pray that, oh Lord, I know that this body is not going to exist forever. Idam, this is not mine. You have to live in this world with this truth is mine. If your body is not mine, what about your name, your fame, your family, your wealth, your bank account, your car? Nothing is permanent. It's all temporary. Live in this world as a sojourner, as Swamy Vivekananda says, as a visitor, as a guest. You have to live one day. So whatever you do, you have to understand that all these materialist things that we do, or all these identities in material world, are temporary. They don't exist. They are all just desultory fleetings of the mind. This is a philosophy you learn, truth you learn from the sandalwood, from the kumkumam, because it's a symbol of flame, and then with the ashes you know what it is. So, whenever you hear of a ritual, whenever people tell you about a ritual, let it be an astrologist or a pandit or a great guru or whatever that is, just ask him the question, sir, what's the logic behind it? Suppose he says, it's not logical, it is to be accepted. No. Everything should be logical in Hinduism. Because this great religion was created by people who can think, people who can really understand things, people who had really suffered. Suffered in what? Suffered in sadhana. They have suffered a lot for truth. So, from today at least, let us start a way, let us walk through a path of logic. Namaste.